Hey, I want to share a point today that's going to kind of bring in a few different aspects of what the challenge is about. It's going to touch on sleep, mindset, and stress management. So, before we get into it, I'm Katerina, and this is Level Up Life Project. Thanks for joining me. Right now, I'm doing a 28-day healthy waist slimming challenge, and this is day 12. So I'm not quite halfway there, but almost. Almost time for a check-in on measurements and stuff. But let's talk about the subject at hand. Um, so this is something that you do before bed. It'll help you sleep better. And there are a couple of different things you can include in it depending on how fast you fall asleep. This is going to be most helpful for people who either don't sleep well because of like you wake up with anxious thoughts, or you have trouble getting to sleep for the same reason, or it'll be most helpful for those two groups and just generally help for everyone because, uh, the better your mindset is, the better your results will be long term. So, what is it? It is using the last minutes before you fall asleep to get your brain in the best state for the goals that you're working toward and for just generally coming at life from a positive perspective. Um, so, I wanted to mention why this time, these last few minutes before you fall asleep, is so valuable. Um, I think I butchered that sentence, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. um, So this time is valuable because research indicates, and I just recently reviewed this. I'm reviewing a book that I've read before called The Positive Dog. Definitely recommend it. Um, and one of the facts that he shares in the book is that the last 30 minutes before you fall asleep, your brain replays those 30 minutes while you're asleep up to, I think it was up to like 15 or 30 times. Like it's the most replayed moment of your day while you're asleep, or like the most replayed time period of your day while you sleep. So you can make the most of that by including positive things. So from day one, I mentioned mindset and coming at this from a place of love, but something that I kind of mentioned in passing and I want to really hone in on a lot more today is using those last few minutes before you fall asleep, including in there some really solid visualization of what your goal is. So I've mentioned like if you have a picture of what you look like and want to get back to, or you know, whatever your inspiration is of what you want your waist and your body to look like, um, to be at your best health wise, confidence wise. Um, but it's more than just holding that image in your mind. The best visualizations are going to involve emotion with that image. So part of it is getting into like, how am I going to feel when I reach that? Like letting yourself feel that joy, that sense of accomplishment, even way before you're there. Um, and you can also magnify that by imagining yourself doing joyful things or things that you enjoy in the body that you are creating. And just like really getting into the emotion, into the feeling. So, as you may know, I've mentioned in some other videos, I have a son, and like one of the things that I tend to try to imagine is like running with my son or doing a race with my son in my ideal body. And to me, that's especially important because a few years ago, he was about 2 years old and I overdid it, which is another reason why this is a big focus on being like a healthy way. And that you'll hear that I have a lot of like, well, do this wisely so you don't injure yourself, because I overdid it. I injured myself. I injured my knees. I couldn't even kneel down on the floor to be with him. Um, and it took a long time to really heal to where I can be in those floor positions again. Um, and still, I even like, I'm still careful and aware. So, what I did was I wanted to start jogging, but I hadn't jogged in years, and I was at the heaviest weight I had ever been in my life. So it was just too much on my knees, and I injured both of my knees. Um, and so then for years, I couldn't run because of this knee pain. And even now, like I've started doing like short little jogs. Um, I can't speak for all boys, but mine is definitely like the energetic, want to play, want to run fast and do all the things. So like now I'll do like little short bits with him, but I'm still careful about it because I don't want to go back to that place where I was a few years ago. Um, so anyway, it was a little tangent, but the point is that for me, imagining when I will have the confidence to run for longer distances with him, that is like a really, um, it's something that I anticipate with a lot of joy of being able to feel like, okay, I have the body that I want, and I know that's strong enough to handle running for 20 minutes if he wants to run for 20 minutes, or doing, 20 back to back races, and not just saying, like, okay, we can do one race, but then that's it for mommy. So, using that time before you go to sleep to both visualize your ideal body and visualize it doing something that matters to you. And in my example, it's something that I can't do fully at this point, so that makes it like even more valuable and attractive. But it can even be things that you already enjoy doing, right? So, another visualization that I'll do for myself sometimes is that I like dancing like salsa and merengue. And so I'll like, I can still dance now, but I'll visualize myself dancing in the body, or like with the body that I am moving toward. Um, so whatever that like happy thing is for you, visualize that, let yourself get into that moment, feel the emotion, imagine who you're with, and you know what you're doing, what you see, what you smell, are you eating with them, what's on the menu, like get into all those details. And then, like, once you've spent a couple minutes visualizing, you want to stay in really positive thoughts. So this is like the stress management and sleep better part. So I've shared a few tips on helping you get to sleep, but something else that you can do that is really focused on like staying in a positive vein as you fall asleep is literally count your blessings. Like literally, and you can start with or I suggest you start with that day. And the reason that I suggest you start with things that specifically happened that day, or that you specifically are thankful for that day, is because that helps your brain start to look for, like, because you're creating a pattern in your mind of every night I'm going to list the things that I'm grateful for, then your brain will learn, like, oh, I got to pay attention to what I'm grateful for. And it'll start pointing, like, grabbing onto more things, because our brains have to filter through so much information that it has to kind of choose what's important. Like, it can't, uh, I guess I shouldn't say it can't, it does not highlight all of everything that you intake through your senses throughout the whole day, because there's so much to process. So part of the amazing things, one of the amazing things that it does, is it filters what's most important based on the input that you've given it so far. So by starting with focusing on current blessings, that gives a signal to your brain, like, I want to keep looking for more current blessings or current things to be grateful for. And you could start from the beginning of your day and Um, when I do this one, I try to get to 100. Um, I think maybe one time I made it even above 50. Um, because by the time you are like really thinking through and starting to count, and I'll say, you may not get to 50 or 100 things from this day, but squeeze as much as you can out of the day that you had that day, and then go back as far as you need um, to keep going with things that you're grateful for, you appreciate, or that you view as a blessing. And so by doing these things, by engaging in the visualization from a positive place, right? And I want to emphasize that um, if you noticed, I mentioned things that I'm looking forward to as part of my visualization, not things that I want to get away from. So, for example, well, I gave two examples of, things I'm moving toward, but like when I say not things I'm trying to get away from, is like I'm not going to think about like, oh, and I'm going to stop um, feeling self conscious and profile, pictures taken from the side, pictures of my like full body profile. Because although that may be a benefit, if you think about things from that negative, right? Because stopping doing something is not you're moving toward it, you're moving away from it. Um, that's not as powerful for your brain. Like it kind of ties in with the gratitude thing. We're like wanting to give our brain a target to move toward, not focusing on something we want to get away from. We want to focus on what we're moving toward. Um, so if you decide to try that, please let me know. Or if you found these ideas useful, you can give it a like. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. I really appreciate the support, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.